beating Spurs by 6-1. Of course, a major blow for Spurs' top four ambitions. Great result for Newcastle, who put 6 points between them and Tottenham. They have a game in hand as well. Looking good, aren't they, for Champions League next season? But it is that opening 21 minutes that has grabbed all the headlines. This is what Hugo Lloris, who was subbed at half-time because of the injury, had to say about the result. It was very embarrassing. We should apologise to the fans. We didn't show a good face and we could not match the performance of the Newcastle players. It is not even about tactics. We just could not fight and we were late. It is difficult right now to assess the performances, but there was a lack of pride. Meanwhile, the Spurs coach, Stellini, after the game, there are no words to explain a performance like that. The first 25 minutes were the worst I have ever seen. I hope that the system we changed to would give us energy, but it was the wrong decision. If it was that, it's my responsibility. We played with 4 at the back, and if this is the mistake, it's my mistake. Where do you want to start, Craig?
Well, from a professional aspect, that's just unacceptable from Tottenham Hotspur and these players. Particularly, Shaq said he was laughing at the fourth and the fifth went in. They were coming so quickly after each other. And Daniel Levy needs to look at where they're going. We've talked about that. But they might as well get this Stellini guy a bus ticket to Heathrow Airport and a single ticket back to Italy and join his mate Conte. Because what was the point in keeping the Conte clone at the club? Nothing's changed, and they needed something to change. And I've heard all the arguments about, well, Conte didn't play more offensive because they have bad defenders, and I've heard all the excuses, heard them all. That's down to coaching. But quite frankly, they are officially a club on the road to nowhere. I'm telling you that now. And why would Harry Kane even contemplate doing anything else than slapping in a transfer request and making it known before the end of the season? Let's upset a few people. Let's not worry about what the fans think, right? There's a career to be finished. There's goals to be had, and I mean goals in terms of bigger clubs, more ambitious clubs, medals out there. Finish your career on a high. Don't finish at a club that's just floating along in mediocrity. So if I was Harry Kane, I want him to show some stomach here. Say, yeah, listen, I'll give my all to the end of the season. I'll do my bit, but I want out of here. I want out of here because this club is just continually proving to be the same story over and over again, which is not good enough. They're nearly men. They're nearly men. That's what this club is.
5-0, Shaq, after 21 minutes.
During the course of this week, we've been discussing Daniel Levy's suggestion that Harry Kane could win trophies at Spurs and we'll have a statue outside the stadium. And while all that may be well and good, professionally, this is just who Spurs are. And you cannot help but say, and today was evidence of that, Harry Kane is better than this. And so it's a question for him to answer what direction his career is going in, because Spurs have kind of shown who they are, or certainly for the time being. It couldn't have been any worse. It couldn't have been any more embarrassing. You mentioned Hugo Lloris coming off at half-time, supposedly injured. I saw nothing to do for his 45. That suggested as much, but you're absolutely right. And where are Spurs going from here? Do you sack your interim to bring in a second interim between now and the end of the season? It's becoming a joke for a very proud football club. You go all the way up to Newcastle from London, and in 20 minutes, fans are back in their cars and heading home. I mean, it's laughable from a Spurs perspective. But you had to be expecting that kind of a backlash from a Newcastle team who just come off the hands of an embarrassment of sorts against Aston Villa. And they responded in perfect kind.
Let me go back to Harry Kane. Sorry. And I want to do that because most of these other Spurs players are hardly worth talking about. He needs to go. If I was him, this week I would go in and I would bowl into Daniel Levy's office and say, make a deal.
Right.
In 15 months or whatever it is, 14 months, I'm walking out of here for free. I'm walking. And I'll wait a year if I have to. You go and make some deals. You're a deal maker. You go and make some deals. We'll get a few quid in the bank for Tottenham. You can go a different direction, and I can finish my career at a club with proper ambition. That's what I would be doing if I was Harry Kane and his representatives. Got a feeling that's not the way it will bowl out. But you have to play strong arm here. If you want to get out of there as one of the best strikers in European football, and he is. He is. So he controls to a certain extent his destiny in terms of how aggressive he wants to be. We saw Lewandowski at Barcelona. You know, all right, I've heard Nagelsmann wanted him out and blah, blah, blah. The hierarchy wanted to keep him. Well, Lewandowski's like, Barca's a place for me.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen. Barca's a place for me.
Or to that point, if you do want to stay at Spurs because it's your boyhood club and you do want that trophy outside the stadium, that statue outside the stadium, etc., do as you saw Kylian Mbappe do. And you could criticize that for all you want, but say this is who we need to bring in. This is the type of players we need to bring in. These are the departments we need to strengthen and have more of a hands-on approach. But you cannot just sit back and accept this abject mediocrity from a football club that should be a whole lot better while you are one of the brightest striking talents still around in the game today. You've got to either leave or you've got to dictate Spurs' direction in the short term.
Kylian Mbappe said that, but then some of the richest owners that own PSG did not go out and fulfil his rhetoric, his wishes. What hell? Harry Kane might as well go and talk to a statue. Talk to Daniel Levy. He's not going to go. He'll go, yeah. All right, Harry, yeah. We've got 300 million for players, and we're going to bring in this manager, and everything's going to be great. I mean, if he even remotely believes that kind of nonsense, it's pie in the sky. So yeah, he should have gone a year or two ago, and I honestly hope he does, because I think his career and his talent deserves to be at the elite level, and they're not elite level, are they?
Which manager then will come in? Well, let's just remind you how the bookies have things set. Nagelsmann, dear me, look, they haven't got a clue. Have they? 4-1, Nagelsmann, Luis Enrique, 4-1. Vincent Kompany's an interesting one, Craig, because you brought him up when Conte left.
Yeah,
Would you leave what you've done at Burley to walk into this if you're Vincent Kompany?
Yeah, potentially, yeah, because Burley has a very low ceiling in terms of what they're going to be able to achieve. While Spurs have been poorer than this, you'd like to think that there is a pathway for an upward trajectory. Slow. And maybe that's the selling point. You might look at somebody like, his stock is down at the moment, but Brendan Rodgers getting another chance, maybe to reinvigorate that energy and drive he brought to Leicester that took him to an FA Cup, and they won the FA Cup for the first time, and blah, 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 and until it all fell apart at the seams in the last 8 months. But if I was Nagelsmann,
No.
But to that point, many names on the top of that list, their stock trending upwards, including Vincent Kompany, even though he's at a smaller, right now, championship club in Burley. You don't put all that at risk if the club aren't willing to back you as a manager and back your vision of what's needed. So again, it comes down to a discussion with Daniel Levy about what this club needs to do in your mind, and trust whether or not Daniel Levy respects that. And in all honesty, I'm not absolutely certain that he does.
Let's talk Newcastle, shall we? Spurs, of course, dealt a major blow with regards to their Champions League hopes. For Newcastle, Shaq, you're loving life now.
Absolutely. As I mentioned, a huge stumble against Aston Villa by their own lofty standards, and this is an incredible response. Real distance now between yourself and fifth place, Spurs, as it happens, in the promise of bringing Champions League football back to St James's Park. I think ever since Isaac has returned, you've seen the best of Newcastle again. Still very tight defensively. He gives them real threat up front, and it's a team playing with a confidence that can only be summed up by Murphy's strike for the third goal. That is from back to front, how confident everybody in Newcastle are in their positions and in their jobs at St James's.
Guaranteed top 4, Shaq.
Guaranteed.
It came from the horse's
Yeah,
mouth.
it's very true. Hey, a good... Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.